Welcome back into the Sportsmemo Betting Podcast. College football, every game on the board. Next segment up, we're 153, 154, all the way down to 175, 176. That's Florida, Kentucky in the SEC. Next guest up, Joe Raineri. Joe, welcome into the pod. How you doing today, buddy?
It's another great day, right? Week 3, college football. We're pumped. We've had some good fortune come our way the first couple of weeks, looking to make it an even more profitable Week 3.
Absolutely, man. You're calling the Colorado Buffs, plus the points. Seeing UNC here with the win. Ohio, Pittsburgh, under, winner. So good stuff so far in college football from Joe Raineri. Check his stuff out at sportsmemo.com. And we're starting off here 153, 154. Iowa State, in my opinion, the best rivalry name in all of college football. The Cy-Hawk Trophy, Joe.
Yes.
We got 44.5 being the total. 2.5, that's the Hawkeyes laying on the road in Ames. How you looking to bet Iowa State, man?
Yeah, it truly is one of the better rivalries in college football. Iowa ranked, I believe, 19th in college football this year after starting the season 2-0. Listen, they beat Miami, Ohio in week 1, 38-14. Probably could have been more. Rutgers last week, of course, 30-0. The Cyclones also undefeated but not ranked. And quite honestly, I'm just giving these two teams the eye test. I've watched both of them. Yeah, the Iowa State Cyclone, no. I just don't think these two teams. I think Iowa is going to be one of the more underrated teams this year, like they always seem to be. They just win games, but nobody ever wants to give them the credit. They are, to me, as far as what I have seen from both of these schools, this is the better team this season. I look for them to not only get the win, but get the cover against Iowa State. I know it's on the road, but this Iowa team is much better than people are giving them credit for.
Yeah, well-coached, good defense that usually wins more games against the spread than it loses. We got next game up, 155, 156, Colorado State at Arkansas. Razorbacks off of a loser last week against Ole Miss, laying 10 at home, 63.5 or 64 being the total in this one, Joe.
Yeah, I know a lot of people had high hopes for Arkansas last week against Ole Miss, but, they usually find a way to let people down, and, yeah, it's not good. Colorado State, not exactly a world beater by any means, but I think this is a far better offensive team through the first couple of games. And I do think they have the ability to take it to Arkansas and run right past them. So I'm going to lean Colorado State. I'm going to take the points here. If I were an Arkansas back, I would definitely be worried about upset alert here. So take the points plus 10. I think Colorado State gets the job done.
We got WKU at Louisville up next, and the Louisville Cardinal laying 10 at home, 51.5 here, Joe. We got kind of little brother versus big brother here with Louisville versus Western Kentucky. You interested in getting involved here?
I am, as a matter of fact. I love Louisville. They bounced back well after that Notre Dame loss. They defeated Eastern Kentucky, kind of blew them out 42-0. But listen, I like this team. I think it's not nearly as bad as everyone wanted them to make out the scene when they played Notre Dame. I couldn't have been more impressed with what I saw in that defeat to Notre Dame. Better coach, better offense, and also a ton of returning starters from a year ago. Now they've got a quality coach. They've got a cohesive unit. I'm taking Louisville. I think lay the 10 here. I'm good to go, man. I think they got more experienced, and I think they are the more improved team this year. So I'll back Louisville in this game.
All right, good stuff. We got Pac-12 versus Big Ten here in a rivalry of sorts. These two teams have played each other. Arizona State at Michigan State, one of the better games on the board. Looks like Sparty laying 14 in East Lansing, 41.5 the total, Joe.
Yeah, listen, revenge game here, isn't it? Herm Edwards, they did terrible things to Michigan State last year. It was a big upset, but you know what? I think Michigan State exacts their revenge here. Not that I don't like Arizona State. I think they're going to have a solid year. Their defense is good. A lot of question marks on the offensive side of the ball. I do think that Michigan State, it just comes down to, listen, better players right now. Both are coached very well, but Michigan State has got the better players, including the much better offensive line. I do expect that Michigan State rolls in this game.
All right, we're talking with Joe Raineri on Twitter at Joe Raineri. And guys, we got a special coupon code here, Joe500. We'll take $500 off his college football and NFL combo package at sportsmemo.com. You'll get every play he releases in college football and the NFL for the rest of the season through the national championship, through the Super Bowl for $500 off at sportsmemo.com. Big savings there with the coupon code Joe, Joe 500 at checkout. He's also seeing it well, 9-3 his last 12 plays, making money in the short term and in the long term. We got since the start of July hitting 57% across all sports. Joe, really seeing it well, man, and we'll move down the line here, guys, but that coupon code is Joe500 at checkout at sportsmemo.com for his full season NFL and college football package there. We got North Texas at California up next. Golden Bears laying 14 in this one, Joe. 50.5 the total.
Yeah, I got to tell you, love Cal this year. Had them picked against Washington in the upset, and they're laying 14. North Texas, listen, nice team, led, but a lot of questions. Mason Fine, their quarterback. No, not really sure. I know the Cal Bears. One thing I do know is that their defense is ridiculous. You got a North Texas Mean Green coming in with some questions offensively. Week 3 of the college football season. They just coming off that win against the Huskies. Yeah, by the way, for the second year in a row, they're coming back down. Some would say this is a letdown spot before they hit the road to take Ole Miss. Not me. I think the defense runs and has a lot of fun here in this game. I'm back in California. Lay the points at home. They're going to run the poor North Texas Mean Green. They're going to run them right off the field.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup in itself. We got another good one here. Louisiana Tech at Bowling Green. Kind of a tricky handicap in terms of, a small conference team going up north to play a down team in Bowling Green overall. 58.5 the total. With Louisiana Tech, they're big up front. They don't really get run over. We've seen them kind of match up. Not well, but not getting run over by the bigger teams in the country. But having to lay 10.5 on the road at a MAC school, it's always, motivation. How are you going to perform on the road in that kind of scenario is always kind of a question mark to me. But are you interested in laying doubles here with Louisiana Tech?
Yeah, I actually, no, I'm not. But I do think they're going to win, but I'm not into laying a double is going to be a little tough situation. I think they got a bad draw. They First week they got crushed to Texas there, 45-14, but they did get the win over Grambling State last weekend. I think that's going to be obviously a better comparative matchup when you're looking at this. I don't know about the problem is I'm not all that confident with Bowling Green right now. I've gotten just a mixed bag with this. I do feel more confident with Louisiana Tech. I'll take the Bulldogs here. But maybe a money line type of situation, but the double digit scares me.
Yeah, we got Buffalo at Liberty up next, Joe. With Buffalo laying 5.5 here, it's a team that lost a lot off of last year's roster, now having to lay points at Liberty. Hugh Freeze, the whole coaching from a hospital bed or hospital chair, whatever you want to call it, 55 the total. Kind of another interesting matchup here in small conference college football, Joe. You interested in getting involved?
Yeah, points with Liberty at home are tempting. I will give you that. But this just doesn't feel or appear to be the same Liberty team from last year that seemed to hang around offensively with just about every decent team in the country. Buffalo's had their issues. They have lost a lot. They're going from a tough environment like Penn State to a much more forgiving one here at Liberty. So I think Buffalo is capable of winning this by at least a touchdown. So I'll lay the points. Give me the 4. I'll lay them with them and take Buffalo to ride this and get it done.
All right, Joe. We got Conference USA versus Sunbelt up next. Southern Miss at Troy. The Trojans laying 2.5 in Troy, Alabama. 49 the total.
Yeah, Southern Miss couldn't really get much anything going against Mississippi State. They fell behind 21-0 at halftime, and that was it from there. Troy, we've only got the one performance to gauge from them, but pretty much everything went well for them in that game. I'm going to stick with Troy here. I liked what we saw in game 1 for them. I think there's Southern Miss, too many questions for me. It's not a big number. I'll lay to 2. I'll go with the better team. I'll go with Troy.
Joe, next game up, something only a sports bettor could love. UMass at Charlotte. We're talking the Minutemen versus the 49ers college football style here. Charlotte laying 20 at home. This total, man, there's some opinion on this total. Open 64.5, as high as 70, back to 66.5. Anyway, throw it over to you. Interested in getting involved in kind of the doldrums here at college football?
You know, the problem is UMass struggles with on the defensive end, but they do have, they've got they got a situation where they can put up some points through the air, and I do think they should have some success in this game against Charlotte, who averages defense gives up about 270 passing yards per game. So, listen, Charlotte certainly has looked like the better team at the moment. However, not a team I can trust in their first road game of the season. I think UMass, believe it or not, will do enough in this game to be able to go ahead and get the job done. I'm going to take UMass in the points at home.
Good stuff, Joe. We got Ohio at Marshall, two kind of tough teams to say the least, and also circled on by a lot of sports bettors as bet on teams coming into the season. We got the Thundering Herd laying 5 or 5.5. Total of 49 in this one, Joe.
Yeah, both teams kind of disappointing there in their last performance, but I'm willing to give both a pass. Pitt's a pretty decent team in the ACC, and a lot of teams have had some issues with Marshall, certainly here on the turf. We've seen that before in the past. I don't know. I mean, we know one thing. There's dominance by this home team. This Marshall team, there's something about them playing at home. They've done well in this matchup before, and I think the Thundering Herd lay the points here. I really do think that this is probably going to be a fairly easy victory for them. Should be over by the beginning of the fourth.
All right, Joe, we got two games left here in this segment. We got Kent State at Auburn up next, 52.5 the total. Gus Malzahn and company having to lay 35.5 in Jordan Hare to the Zips. Kind of a wish-wash thing here. One interesting aspect to this game is Woody Barrett was recruited by Auburn and kind of down there on the roster slots and decided to transfer out. He's now the starting quarterback for Kent State. Not sure if that matters too much in the handicap, but just wanted to throw it out there, Joe. Any interest here in getting involved in the Zips versus War Eagle?
This is so hard. What do you do here? It's 35. What is the number now? 35 and a half. It's like the Golden Flashers weren't exactly, lighting them up 26-13 over Kennesaw State last week. They're 2-5 against the number in the last 7 against the SEC. They're 7-15 against the number in their last 22 against opponents with winning records. And 1-5 against the number in the last 6 on the road against teams with winning home records. The Tigers, 4-1 against the number in their last 5 are all 5-0 against the number in their last 5 at home. And you just keep going. The numbers continue to get better. Auburn's not only going to win, they should have absolutely zero problem covering this game.
All right, liking War Eagle to cover, 7+ touchdowns here in Jordan Hare. I like it, Joe. We got last game up before we throw it to Teddy Covers to close it out on today's College Football Every Game on the Board podcast. And got a good one for you here, Joe. The Florida Gators, the Kentucky Wildcats, and we all remember the rivalry that Florida, they won like 30 in a row or something crazy like that. But we got 50.5 the total in Lexington, with the Gators now laying 8 on the road.
Yeah, listen, people are going to be tempted to take Kentucky in the points at home, but don't be, all right? Don't get sucked in here. The fact is this Florida team is a much better team in this spot. They've gotten the upper hand on Kentucky over the years, and in Lexington, no less. I think Kentucky, they're a good team. I really do. I think they're going to have a really, really good season. There were some question marks about them, but I think the Gators are going to be just too much here. They're probably going to win double digits. I'm thinking by 10 to 14 points. So lay the points with Florida, guys. This is not going to be as close as people think.
Great stuff as always, Joe. And guys, remember the coupon code JOE500. That's JOE 500 at checkout for Joe Raineri's full season college football and NFL combination package there at sportsmemo.com. It will take $500 off. He's 9-3 his last 12 plays, hitting 57% overall since the beginning of July. So really seeing it well. You can follow him on Twitter at Joe Raineri. Joe, as always, thanks for the time. Have a great weekend. Best of luck with your bets, and we'll talk next week, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Good luck to everybody.
All right, guys. We'll be right back with Teddy Covers.